What's up, everybody? This is Ron K. Armstrong, filmmaker extraordinaire, and I'm back. Had a little technical difficulties a little early on, but we've got everything settled in. So today I want to talk about awesome subject that I like, which is crushing it in the film business or as a filmmaker. So filmmaking has gone through a number of evolutions, and I want to talk about that today and how you're going to have to adapt to make it in the business. But the first thing I want you to do is hit that like button and subscribe to my channel and share this video with friends and family. Let's get the information out there to help those would-be filmmakers. So I have a friend who I'm mentoring, and he's aspiring to get into the film game and learn all he can. And there's some proper steps to doing that. One of the things that you can do, like what I tend to do, is work as a freelancer. And as I've mentioned before, we just finished wrapping up on the Incredibles 2 campaign, which is a lot of fun. We've done Juicy Juice stuff. So as a filmmaker, there is work out there if you know how to play the game. But the thing that I want to talk about is what every filmmaker aspires to do is to be like a James Cameron or George Lucas or Steven Spielberg or Spike Lee or Hitchcock or Orson Welles. And to do that, you have to understand that things are not the same as they used to be. I was watching North by Northwest the other day, and I'm just like, wow, that's an amazing film. But the way that's made and the way that will be publicized today will be totally different. So what am I saying with you? One of the things that I find very interesting is the technology has changed. It used to be, when you were a filmmaker, let's say back in the early 90s, late 90s, it was just about getting the film done. And film was so expensive at the time because you actually were shooting on cellular. Now everything is digital. I'm not going to go in between like the digital evolution, but now it's about more of your story and cinematically your style and how you can tell that story in a very interesting and dynamic way, whatever medium that you have. That great thing about the film industry now is they're not really like they're looking for filmmakers who can work in any different medium. Meaning you can have, your big old cameras here, go out there and shoot. Or you can have something as simple as your iPhone. It doesn't matter because they have even film festivals for iPhone filmmakers. And this is one of the iPhones that I use, and I use it on a gimbal. And this gimbal actually works pretty well, kind of like a steady cam, and you can, play around with it, have motion control, it can follow you and everything like that. But these are just toys, and the idea is, and here's another gimbal. I'm not really like crazy about this one. This one's a little bit more bulky, but it still works. So anyway, you have these iPhone filmmakers coming out there, and they're crushing it. They're doing really great stuff on their iPhones. So, you don't have to stick with any one mode. It's more about your skill as an artist and how you tell the story, So I want you to think about that. But here's one of the most important things I want you to keep in mind. Yes, it's all about creativity. I truly believe that. In fact, last night I was up late rewriting my script for like the umpteenth time, and I was just so like done with it. I'm tired of this script. I'm tired of rewriting. But that is the process. That is when you're trying to make something into a Mona Lisa. That's a great thing to do, is to push yourself to the next level. Now, it used to be when I was talking to filmmakers, I remember when I was in the inner circle, and I was meeting all these people. And one of the things I said is don't ever push yourself on them in the very beginning. I was like networking with people like meeting people like Ron Howard, Spike Lee, and you should just have a friendly rapport with them from the very beginning. And then as you go along, say, hey, I have this script. Would you mind taking a look at it? But now I think, everything has changed, because there's so much content out there, whether you're a feature filmmaker, short filmmaker, a web series filmmaker, or just have a YouTube channel here, and you're like a Casey Nason. The thing is, what I think you need to do now is to be, just say have more tenacity. So as I mentioned, building that rapport, but now I think it's the exact opposite. I think if you have a very good product that you're confident in, then I think that you can go up to individuals, whether they be producers or stars, and say, listen, take a look at this right away. This is going to be awesome. You're going to love it. And they may have, you may put them off, and they may have a negative reaction, but that's okay. Plow right through it. Just plow right through it. Because if you are truly confident in your product, then you have something that they need. So you're not exactly pushing something on them that they don't need. It's going to benefit them to come aboard your train. You understand what I mean? It's like you're moving, you're not stopping. So either they get on or somebody else will get on. That's the way you've got to look at it. And when I was reading my script, I was like, wow, this is really good, because I know I'm a decent writer, probably a great writer. So that's the way you're going to have to think, you know. And I remember when I started out, it was all about the format. Well, you can't shoot this, you can't shoot that, you can't shoot digital, you can't shoot on celluloid anymore. And all those rules now are gone, which I'm so happy. It's not about what you shot on. I mean, that question will come up later, far later. But what they want to know is, as an auteur, how good are you at the creative expression of the story? And they're looking for that. And the one thing that you are going to do that will separate you from everybody else and will get you out there is tenacity. It's not taking no for an answer. It's pushing through, plowing through all of that. And that's how you're going to crush it in the business, because you have those filmmakers who are doing the traditional route. In fact, I know a number of filmmakers who have umpteen awards they've gained from various different film festivals, and they still have no recognition in mainstream film industry. So what does that tell you? That tells you that awards and accolades really don't mean nothing. It's it's when you get to sign on a dotted line where somebody can actively fund your picture is when you've really got something there. It's that funding, whether it comes from angel investors or, you know, a studio, what have you. That's what you're really looking to do, is to be able to get into a situation where, as an artist, you can tell your story and not have to always worry about where's the funding coming from for the next picture or web series or whatever. So the thing that I'm saying to you is that it used to be where product wasn't as populated as it was before. I mean, it used to be that the product, meaning films, weren't out there as much as they are now. That's what I meant to say. So there was a more of an opportunity, if you had shot something, to get that scene. Now the market is saturated with content. So what does that mean? That means it takes more determination and more gusto to get your work seen by the right people, not just anybody, you know, because going through, you know, people think they're going to a festival and getting an audience, big deal. I've got a video on YouTube that has over 1 million views. So that's great. That's 1 million views, but what does that translate into? Will those 1 million views finance my next film? That's the important thing you got to look at. Sometimes you have to put the ego aside and stop talking about awards and this and that, and said, okay, if I am going to get an award, is this going to lead me into the door of a major agent? Am I going to get a good agent who can then, you know, get me into either writing for television, sitcoms, whatever, or get me into a studio where they were looking at my next movie and offer me a deal? That's the things I think you have to really start to look at, because if it doesn't translate into something tangible like that, I don't think that it's. I mean, it's great to have the audience watch a film and enjoy and give you this feedback, but I think more importantly, I've seen this happen to a lot of filmmakers who, over the course of years, don't stay in the game because it's just too arduous of a task to keep producing a picture and not have that security and funding that can be bankrolled into every idea that you have. And it's a wonderful feeling that you can come up with an idea and know that there's funding waiting there for you, so you don't have to worry about having to go out there and campaign to get investors or to get somebody to throw money into it. So when you shoot your product, understand your film, that you are going to be one of many people out there. All right, Lester? You know this, right? So the one thing that you're going to have to do is approach the most important people and get in their face and not give up, okay? And even if they say no, find ways to, you know, they say that the way you make a sale, this is in sales, is to expose someone to the product or service at least 7 times, because you have to warm them up to it. The first time they're not going to say yes out of the box right away, or out of the gate is the expression, to coin that expression. So you just got to be someone who has such a dire or desire to get this in front of people, and if your energy is there, and you believe in your film, they will feel that, and they will give you that opportunity. They'll sit down and talk to you or look at it. But it's when that you, and this is a common mistake filmmakers made, they'll go through the process of shooting their work, and they'll get so tired after the production is over, and they'll start enjoying the picture and watching it over and over again, but have no plan in place as to, well, how am I going to get this in front of the right people? And I don't mean plan in place by going on the festival circuit. That's a plan that anybody can put together. I mean really trying to hook up with the power brokers. And I'm going to give you a hint, and this is how I'm going to end this broadcast with. One of the ways that can secure you hooking up with the power brokers is to make sure from the very get-go of your film that your film has quality actors in them, have actors that are recognizable faces, because when you have those names in your film, it's a lot easier to get it in front of people, to watch it, to support you on your next endeavor. So anyway, I hope you liked that bit of advice. This is filmmaker Ron K. Armstrong, and until my next broadcast, stay dedicated and live film.